Hi guys, welcome to our channel. Today we are discussing a thriller and horror movie in which a group of students get stuck in Hellbrook High School's weekend detention before the start of classes for various reasons. A horrible legend of a serial killer in this high school gradually comes true. It begins to harass them, and unpredictable events occur one after another. Check the title of the movie in the description. At the movie's beginning, two trickster students break into Hellbrook High School at night and plan to install a camera on the bathroom ceiling illegally. After installing the camera and making sure it's working, Todd admits that he doesn't intend to deviate and wants to live stream the videos before they go live on the home channels. It doesn't take long before he disappears within seconds, and the other realizes that Todd has been brutally murdered moments later. While he is shocked, the killer appears with a scary face, and he runs away after losing his glasses, but the doors are locked. He goes back to take off his glasses, and as soon as he finds his broken glasses, he is killed by the killer, like Todd. Then the killer tries to wash away the blood to leave no trace of himself. Erica Young, an honors student and hopeful for admission to Harvard University, advises her friends in a video speech to use their senior year of high school to take advantage of opportunities. A week later, on a Saturday, she goes to Hellbrook High School for weekend detention. Before entering class, Erica is stopped by her recently broken up boyfriend, Jason. Even though they are no longer together, Jason feels sorry for his past behavior and asks her to be nice together. She agrees, saying that she's running late, and to her surprise, he reveals that he knows she's going to spend the weekend in detention while wondering what Erica is going to be detained for. Since Erica is an honor student, she doesn't want others to know that she is in detention, so she asks him not to tell anyone about it. Victor, Lizzie, and Russ are other students who are also detained in this class for different reasons. Still, they are very surprised by Erica's presence here and make fun of her a little. Brett is another student who enters the class and sits next to Erica, followed by Mr. Armstrong enters and, after the welcome, explains that he is in charge of punishing them in this class. He forces them to hand over their phones, and in the meantime, Victor, who doesn't like him, argues with him a bit. Brett also explains that since he knew he had to hand over the phone, he didn't bring it with him, and after him, Armstrong asks Erica to hand over her phone after her shameful crime. On the other hand, Erica doesn't want others to know about her mistake. After that, he plans to force the students to clean the classroom and wipe the chewing gum from under the table, unlike in the past, and this time, Victor disagrees and says, "If you can, force me." Then, entering into personal issues, he teases him about his begging to stay with his ex-wife. These words make Armstrong feel ashamed and, of course, angry, and make him angrily grab Victor's collar. Still, since he can't deal with violence, he decides to punish him for 4 more detention sessions. The students are punished to clean the chewing gum from under the table. At the same time, Armstrong twiddles with his ring, and deep in thought, he announces that he is going to his office to check his emails. He warns that under no circumstances should any of them leave the classroom. Then he leaves and Lizzie makes sure he's back in his office. After he leaves, Russ talks about Todd, who just went missing, which he can't believe. And they talk about the legend of the school ghost killing misbehaving students. Victor says that apparently 10 years ago, an old woman teacher who was always ridiculed by the students once had a heart attack and died due to a bucket of ice water being poured on her head, and from that year on, it is said that she possessed the school and takes revenge on bad kids. The students then wonder how it is possible that Erica, the school's honor student, is now in weekend detention. They try to force her to tell the reason, but Erica refuses to reveal it. Russ, Victor, and Lizzie know that Armstrong has alcoholism and assume that he went to his room to get drunk, so they decide to steal alcohol from him, making sure he won't come back. Brett, who is a nice guy, asks them not to make him angry, but they don't have that kind of personality and even invite Erica to join them. Armstrong starts drinking in his office, and after they leave, Brett praises Erica for her recent speech. Still, he also questions why she is now in weekend detention, and this conversation causes Erica to cut her finger. He goes to get her a first aid kit, and on the other hand, 3 other people hear strange noises that scare them a little. Anyway, Victor leaves them to get some drugs, and Lizzie and Russ plan to steal alcohol from Armstrong. In his room, he checks the Facebook profile of his now married ex-wife with great sadness and looks at her photos with regret. Suddenly, there is a knock on the door, and he goes out to check that. Russ takes this opportunity to enter his office. While Armstrong seems to be fooled, he grabs a bottle of alcohol from his room and escapes to a secluded classroom. He tastes some of it, and suddenly, behind him, a map of the world starts spinning. He slowly approaches it and holds it still. Suddenly, the killer attacks him from behind and brutally, horribly decapitates Russ and kills him. Lizzie waits for Vic and Russ with a lot of stress, and when there is no news from them, she decides to go back to class. Brett goes back to class with a band-aid, but Erica says that her finger isn't bleeding anymore. Then Lizzie and Victor enter the class one after the other, when none of them have heard from Russ. Moments later, Lizzie asks Victor to turn on the vape. They ask Erica and Brett to join them in smoking the vape, but Brett refuses and says that Armstrong might arrive at any moment. Victor insists that one of them must do it to make sure neither of them exposes him and Lizzie, and since Brett has never done drugs before, Erica decides to hang out with them. Brett tries to dissuade them from pressuring Erica, but she says she wants to do it on her own. Then, the three of them hang out while Brett clears the table. Lizzie admits that she thinks Erica is a regular person and says she's not that bad.
Thank you.
When asked about her guilt over the weekend detention, she still refuses to talk about it. Moments later, Lizzie remembers why Russ isn't with them, and Victor says that he probably twisted them. Erica notices noises outside the classroom, and a few seconds later, they realize that Armstrong is coming. They immediately go back to work, and Erica purposefully spills the smelly bleach liquid on the floor so that Armstrong doesn't notice the smell of the vape. However, he understands that they are smoking. Still, fortunately, Brett does not reveal them. On the contrary, he deliberately says that he smells alcohol to distract Armstrong. This makes him angry, and he immediately asks them to bring a mop to clean the bleach that he spilled on the floor and leaves the class again angrily. Everyone praises Brett for distracting Armstrong, and Erica thanks him profusely. It's clear from Brett's behavior that he likes her. While walking down the corridor with Erica still hungover, Brett tells her not to let them pressure you. She comments that they may not be top students, but they're not bad people either. Moments later, a mysterious voice is heard again. It turns out that Jason intended to scare Erica, and soon, he realizes that she is hungover and thinks that Brett forced her. Brett says they need to go pick up the mop and clean up the classroom right away. However, Jason is still upset that his girlfriend is with him, so he forces Erica to walk together for a while. Vic goes to take something from his car and also checks if the school is locked or not. On the other hand, Jason and Erica enter a private place. After a little expressing their interest in each other, she admits that she checks his profile picture every 11 minutes. Jason also wants to get back into a relationship with her and get closer to her. Then they kiss each other and decide to sleep together, but Erica says that she is hungry, and says that she will go to the food machine and come back soon. Victor makes sure Armstrong locks the door, and Jason prepares himself for sex with Erica. While Erica is still high, she is choosing things to eat, and minutes later, the school killer terrifyingly appears behind her. Still, strangely, he does not harm her. The killer enters the room where Jason is practicing, and he thinks that Erica has come and is trying to scare him and searches the class to find her. When he reaches the end of the class, he sees the killer sitting on the ground. Suddenly, he cuts Jason's legs with his sword and kills him like the other victims. Brett returns to the classroom with a mop in his hand, and then Victor comes and reveals that Armstrong locked the door. Erica also goes back to see Jason, but she doesn't find him there. She thinks that Jason is scaring her, so after a few minutes, when she doesn't hear from him, she goes back to class. Disappearance of students one after another has confused everyone until Lizzie fearfully says that they should discuss this issue with Armstrong. Erica and Lizzie decide to get their phones back from Armstrong. Still, Brett fearfully stops them and warns that it's too dangerous to go out despite what happened, to the point where Victor admits that what he said about the zombie teacher was all a joke. Armstrong notices something by checking the emails, and while Brett and Victor are confronting each other about bullying, he suddenly enters the class. To his surprise, he pulls Brett aside and forces him out of the class with him. Victor gets bored and leaves the class to find a way out of the high school, and after that, Erica and Lizzie go to get their phones back from Armstrong. As they are walking in the corridor, they are suddenly shocked by a trail of blood on the floor. While being extremely scared, they see that the floor of Armstrong's room is covered in blood, so they immediately search the office to find their phones. Lizzie checks the computer and after seeing emails, she finds out that Erica's weekend detention was for fraud. Victor hears mysterious and strange noises next to the food machine. Erica talks about how Brett didn't look worried when he left the class, and the two decide to leave his office and follow the trail of blood with great stress. In disbelief, the trail of blood ends at the entrance of a mysterious door. After opening it, they find a secret door at the end of the corridor, which seems like the killer has been bringing corpses into this scary place all along. They immediately run away with great fear, but a little later, they realize that the entrance to the high school is locked. Moments later, they are in front of the killer in the main corridor of the school, and they think that he is Armstrong, who caused the disappearance of Russ, Jason, and Brett.
Oh shit, run, go!
They run away, and Victor accidentally sees them. Then, he sees the ghost of the school, who stops chasing them. He immediately hides behind the wall and sees the killer moving towards him, so he decides to escape through the nearest door without him noticing. Erica and Lizzie also take refuge in the chemistry laboratory after all the exits are closed to them, so that they might be able to escape from there. Still, it is useless, and they think that they might be able to get out of there by making an explosive bomb. Victor sees the killer moving the bodies, and after chasing him, he reaches the same terrible corridor and picks up the axe that is near him so that he can defend himself. With a little progress in the corridor, he reaches a ladder with great stress, which seems to lead to the air cells above the air duct. The killer listens from the air duct as Erica talks about her dreams at Harvard, and the main reason for her weekend detention was because she offered a bribe to Armstrong to change her bad grades to good grades, so that she could get the highest GPA in school. On the other hand, Victor struggles with himself to overcome his fears and climb the ladder. Still, he can't do it. He decides to return. Suddenly he sees the killer behind him, who takes his sword out of its sheath. He immediately runs away, but the corridor door closes and Erica and Lizzie hear his voice, desperately asking for help from the air duct in the ceiling. With the help of Lizzie, Erica enters the ceiling air duct to follow Victor's voice for help. Still, everything is too late because, despite Victor's efforts to get out of the corridor, he is caught by the killer. Erica hears his screams and is interrupted. Then Lizzie decides to activate the high school fire alarm. Suddenly Brett appears behind the door in a hurry and begs her to open the door for him. She asks him to activate the fire alarm now that he's outside. Still, he desperately begs her to open the door, and she opens the door for him at Erica's insistence. Lizzie becomes suspicious of Brett's boots, and when he turns, he reveals that he is the son of the old teacher whom the students left to rot in the basement. Lizzie says that she suspected him before when his name was not on the list of names for weekend detention. Brett says that he warned them not to leave the class and continues to talk like a psycho about Erica's fraud as an honor student in high school, and says that it has disappointed him. Lizzie takes this opportunity to spray acid on him and immediately activate the fire alarm. While Erica is escaping through the air duct, Brett comes out of the lab and brutally hits Lizzie in the head with an axe. She escapes from the air duct inside the ceiling and reaches the same hole that is connected to that corridor with a ladder. As soon as she sees Brett behind her, she quickly wants to get down that ladder, but her foot slips, and she falls from the height. Unfortunately, she faints. When she wakes up while tied to a chair, she sees the clothes and mask that Brett used to kill students, and she encounters a horrifying scene in which Brett places the victims on the chairs. He talks about the past and admits that his mother used to keep him here away from bad kids, and he lived here after her death. He admits that he wanted to talk to her all these years, and since he was interested in Erica, he stuck her posters and pictures on the walls all this time. He says that she was the best star he ever had. Of course, until today, when he found out that she cheated and, like a psycho, he says madly, "Why did you betray me?" He continues his crazy talk and says that today, he was forced even to kill a teacher. On the other hand, Erica, who understands that she is talking to a psychotic killer, tries to admire him. Erica acts as if she's surprised that he cares about her, and since Brett's wishes to dance with her, she tries to convince him to open her hands to dancing. Brett puts the sword on the side table and wants to romanticize the room with some lighting. Then Erica again tries to talk nice to convince him to dance with her in any way possible. Fortunately, Brett is deceived by her words and opens her hands. They start dancing together until, at the right moment, she takes the sword and plunges it into his body. As he dies, she reveals that she is far from a pure virtuous girl, as she regularly cheated, had sex, and did drugs. She just hid this to protect her public image. Erica then leaves the school in a bad mood and confronts the police officers. At the movie's end, she uses this tragedy to open the way for her promotion in the media to ensure her acceptance to Harvard. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.